it.
Okay. So we'll just wait for everybody to join. Okay, folks, thanks everybody for joining. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes just to make sure that everybody's getting in okay, so I can see them. I can see the numbers going up. So just bear with us about 20 seconds or so, and we'll get started. Okay, that looks that looks pretty good. So we'll maybe kick off at the numbers. Look, they've balanced out a bit. So let's get started. So thank you everybody for joining our Xero Masterclass series. So we're planning to run a series of webinars focused towards kind of the functionality that Xero brings. This one is going to be more focused towards the basic functionality of Xero. And really what we want to do is build on that as the series progresses. So it's important to get a good kind of good foundation, a good understanding of what Xero can do. And then we'll get on to the more advanced features as the Masterclass series progresses. Feel free to ask any questions throughout. So we'll do our best to answer them. We've quite a few attendees today, so we'll do our very, very best to get through the questions as they come in. If not, we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So we'll try and address them all there if we don't get through them as we're going. And with most of the webinars that we do anyway, so we'll send out a copy of the slides that we have and also a recording of the webinar. So if you do miss any pieces or you kind of struggle to keep up with the notes and things like that, don't worry, there will be a recording for any parts that you miss. As always, if you have any specific questions about your business or about how Toast can help in general, you can book a free confidential consultation via any of our social media channels or on our website, which is toast.tax. And obviously, whilst you're there, you might as well follow us on all our social media channels. So I'll do my best to cover them all. So we have Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok. TikTok new edition. But we'll get going. We're going to try and keep it to about half an hour, just because we know people are busy. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Daniel to take us through some of the features. Just before that, I'm going to launch a poll, and we'll get the poll results kind of after the presentation. So I'll launch that just now. Take your time to do that as we go along. But I'll hand over to Daniel now. So Daniel, take it away.
Thanks, Michael. So as Michael previously introduced me there, my name's Daniel and I'm one of the Xero certified advisors here at Toast. So today I'll just be giving you a brief introduction as to what Xero is about and, you know, the main benefits that we believe it can bring to any user and our clients. And then I'll then give you a live demo of some basic features that, you know, Xero has to offer. And as I say, it's just some basic features, and we'll cover more of the complicated ones in the following webinars.
Yeah.
So as technology's been changing for the better in recent years, you know, accounting's one of those industries where everything's eventually going to be done online. And that's opposed to your traditional based accounting where you're going to have your paper-based documents, etc. So we also here at Toast, you know, we recommend using the Xero Cloud accounting software, because you know we have our clients using the software because we believe that it meets and even exceeds the needs of any user, and that user could be your accountant or, you know, someone running a business. And it's pretty evident that, you know, that it meets and exceeds the needs of any user, because Xero now currently has over 3 million subscribers, and that has no signs of slowing down anytime soon.
Yep.
So now I'll just touch on a select few of the many benefits that Xero can bring to you and your business. And as I say, no, it's a select few that we believe are the most beneficial.
Yeah.
So the first one there, you can run your business from anywhere. So you can have access to all your data and all the tools on Xero from anywhere, just as long as you have an internet connection. You can have Xero downloaded on your computer or laptop, or you can have, you can even have the Xero app downloaded on your smartphone where you can run your business quite literally from your fingertips. You then have your live bank feed. So this is where your transactions will flow directly from your bank account to Xero each business day, meaning that there's no more manual uploads, which can be quite time consuming for someone who's running a business. And then you can have these bank connections with more than one bank account as well. It's not just the one bank account you can have connected to Xero. You can have two, three, four, five, and so on. So in having these live bank feeds, it then allows you and your accountant to reconcile on a daily basis as well. And that brings me to the next benefit of understanding your real-time cash position. So by having these live bank feeds and being able to reconcile on a daily basis, your accounts are going to provide an accurate and up-to-date picture of how the business is performing from a financial perspective.
Yep.
Xero allows you to collaborate with your accountant. So just say you have an accountant who's dealing with your accounting needs on a traditional basis. The likelihood is that you're only going to meet with that accountant once or twice a year to review paperwork. Whereas you see with Xero, you and your accountant have regular access to your accounts, which as a result is going to promote regular engagement between you and your accountant throughout the year. And then Xero, it keeps your information safe as well. So all data is encrypted, meaning only Xero can access it. And the fact that your data is being kept safe, it's going to give you a peace of mind knowing that you're not going to be hacked or anything. And even then, when you do run into any problems with your device, so say you got a virus or something on your laptop, everything's still going to be saved on what's known as the cloud. And then there's also a multi-factor authentication tool as well, which adds an additional layer of security by checking that it's actually you when you're logging in. And then the last benefit to cover there, it's quite simply easy to use. So Xero's been built with a non-accountant in mind, meaning that you're going to have the ability to use it with ease. So there's no need to worry about being some sort of expert in accountancy or anything, because it can be quite different to that. And that's another thing as well. If you do have any questions about how to do something, your accountant's always going to be on hand to support you. And again, just to mention that that's just a select few of the benefits that we believe the software can bring to any user in general and our clients as well. So if you want to go on the next slide there, Michael, please.
Yeah.
So I'll just show you now this is what you'll be presented with when you log onto your Xero account, and that's called the dashboard. So on the dashboard, you'll see things like your bank account, where you can see how many items are yet to be reconciled. You can see your bank balance. You'll have your sales invoices on the dashboard that show you how much money is owed to you by your customers and how much is overdue. You can view your expense bills that show how much you owe to your suppliers, and again, see how much is overdue. And you'll be able to see a bar chart there of how much cash is flowing on and out of your business on a monthly basis, which a lot of people find useful as well. So the blue bar indicates there how much cash is coming into the business, and the grey bar indicates how much cash is going out of the business. And the great thing about the dashboard is that you can move these things around. They suit however you want that they look. So for example, if you feel that your sales are of a higher importance to your bank account, then you can simply just move the sales invoices to the top of your dashboard and replace where the bank account was previously situated. And I'll show you what I mean by that too when I begin the live demo. So do you want to stop sharing the screen there, Michael, and then I'll begin the live demo?
Go ahead. Perfect, that's you.
So this is what you'll be presented with whenever you log onto your Xero, again known as the dashboard. And there's your bank account, your invoices, OT, your cash flow, and the bills you need to pay. So as I said there, I'll show you how you can change these to suit however you want it to look. So if you just scroll down the bottom of your screen there and click on Edit Dashboard, as I said there, if you feel that the invoices owed to you are of higher importance to you than the bank account, then you just simply move that up there and you click on Save Changes then. So the first feature that I would like to show you here today is how to add a bank account to your Xero. So
Okay.
You'll see here the 6 tabs at the top of the screen there. You're going to click on accounting, and then you'll be presented with a wee drop down menu there, and you'll click on the first one, bank accounts.
This is pretty much the first step that you would recommend once a client gets onto Xero, is connect a bank account.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then when you click on that, here's where you'll be presented with, all the bank accounts you have connected to Xero. But, if you don't have an account that connected, then you'll click on add bank account.
Okay.
And then you'll have to type on you'll have to find the bank that you're looking for. So
This covers most UK banks though.
Yep. This pretty much finds all the banks that are available there. So for example purposes, I'll use HSBC, and we'll use the business one.
Okay.
Well, as, from here on, I know it's going to be just for example purposes, so I'll name that business account. Business account 2, yeah, because there's already one added there.
Yeah.
So for account type, then you'll see a drop down menu again there. So everyday, credit card, saving, and other. So again there, for example purposes, we'll use everyday, and for account code, we'll just use 111111 for the account number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we'll click on continue there. So since I didn't actually add an actual bank account, there's no transactions within the bank account, and there's no statement balance. So if you're adding your actual bank account, from here you'll be presented with this page here, so where you can connect your bank transactions as far back as 12 months. But in the case where you would like the bank account connected further back than the 12 months, it would mean having to manually importing those bank transactions prior to the 12 months. And us here at Toast, we can do that for you, saving you a lot of time as well.
Yeah.
We
so
would just do
basically
that
it'll automatically take 12 months, but
yeah,
if you want historic information, you can take that out of your actual internet banking and then upload it.
yeah,
And as you said, if you need assistance with that, we can do that, because it can be a time consuming process to do that. But it can go back basically as far as your internet banking goes back.
yep.
Yeah.
And we would just use a CSV template on Xero then to import any transactions prior to the 12 months. So the second feature I'd like to show you is the how to raise an invoice within Xero. So before showing you actually how to raise an invoice within Xero, I'll show you how to create your own branded theme invoice. So if you just click on your company name there at the top, then we'll click on settings and invoice settings. So if you're looking to create a new brand and theme, you just click there on the left-hand side, new brand and theme. And this is where you can decide, what information you want shown on your invoice. So, and again, I understand that this might look a bit complicated. So we do this as well for our clients.
Yeah.
So
it's important at the start to get it set up, and we can assist with that as just to help kind of set up whatever needs to be set up. It looks scary, but once you know what you're doing, it's fine.
Yep. So we can deal with this as well for you. Yep. So you've got the name and what you want shown on the invoice. So you've got your unit price and your quantity, etc. Yep. Then you can decide where you want your logo aligned on the invoice, so left, center, or right. You've got your contact details. So this is how they're going to appear at the top of the invoice. So then if you would like to, change the logo on your invoice, and you go to options and change logo. If you wanted to preview the logo, preview the invoice, you just go to options and, preview. And then you've got your payment services. So this is where you can set up how you're going to receive the payment. And, you can have your credit and debit cards. You have a direct debit, PayPal, any other additional payment services. So you've got your Braintree, DPS, eWay, WorldPay.
So it's really a big difference in relation to kind of traditional. So if you send out an invoice normally, they might, you might get a customer rings up and says, "Oh, how do I pay it?" And there's all that time wasted. Whereas with this, if you connect your payment services correct, Daniel, if I'm not mistaken, they can pay just by direct debit or by credit card straight away. So you don't even need to be in the office at the same time, and they can do that. And
you can make the payment at any time as well.
Yeah.
So then, how do you actually raise the invoice through Xero? You see the wee plus icon there in the top right of your screen. You just click on that and then invoice. So from here, then you'll be presented with the invoice template where you can manually input the information that that you want on the invoice, or whereas if you already have your items within Xero, you just click on that drop down menu and you'll be presented with all your items there. So I'll just use white golf balls as an example, and
Just
once you click on that, then
we'll cover how to add items in a later webinar. That's a bit
yep,
more advanced than what's required in this one. But for
yep.
this, you can select it or you can manually type it, whatever way works.
So once you click on that, it's going to automatically fill in the rest of the invoice for you. And if you want to preview that invoice, then you just click on preview in the top right of your screen there, and that'll bring you up how the customer is going to view it. And if you want to view it from a like a mobile phone perspective, you would just click on that one there, and it shows you how it is there. So that's pretty much how you know how to create and raise an invoice through Xero. So the third feature I'd like to show you is how to add a bill.
Yeah.
So you just go to the plus icon there at the top right of your screen again, and then click on bill. So it looks pretty similar. So you can manually input the information again on the expense bill, and then with our clients here at Toast, we use a software called Dex, where we have our clients upload any photos of their invoices and receipts. And what Dex does is it extracts the most important information from the invoice or receipt and pulls it out of the invoice and receipt, and then we can pull that through to Xero. Then we pull the image and the most important information through to Xero.
Yep.
And
so it can be as simple as taking a picture on your phone.
Yep. So as soon as you upload that photo of the invoice or receipt, you can just dump that then, because it's stored on your Dex and your Xero. And then the fourth and final feature I'd like to show you today is bank reconciliation. So if we just go back to dashboard there, you click on reconcile on whatever bank account you wish to reconcile. So here then you'll see on the left hand side, you'll see your bank statement lines, and then on the right hand side is how you want to match it with the transactions in Xero. So there's 4 different examples I'd like to show you here within the bank reconciliation. And the first one is from FastPay here on the 29th of December. So just say, for example, FastPay done a bit of marketing for our demo company. So for who first of all, we'll type on who the supplier is, so FastPay. Because we haven't actually incurred an expense from FastPay before, it'll come up, they create a new contact within Xero. So we'll go ahead and create a new contact.
Kind of promotes you at the time to add a new one.
And the what is what account it's going to be assigned to. So as I say there, for example, they done a bit of marketing for our demo company. So for advertising and marketing, that's going to be assigned to code 400. But don't be worrying if you're not familiar with these codes, because the more you use it, the more familiar you're going to become. And with these codes. But again, with us here at Toast, we would probably do that for you anyway.
Yeah.
And just say you don't know the codes, you can still manually type on the advertising and marketing, and it'll still bring up the correct code.
Yeah.
So, and then the Y is what the expense relates to. So again, we'll just type on quite simply marketing, and then you can just reconcile that then with one click of a button. So we'll go ahead and reconcile that.
And that's it. That's all you have to do.
Yep, that's that item then, reconcile.
Okay.
So then the second example I'd like to show you is when the transaction comes up as an automatic match. So here we'll see on the 7th of February, we've received money from Ridgeway University. So the fact that this showed up, this has showed up as a match, shows that we've already approved this sales invoice within Xero.
So that invoice has been raised from Xero already?
Yep, that invoice has been raised from Xero and approved. So it's shown up as a match. And before you reconcile it, you just want to check that all the information is correct. So the date.
So just before you go on, so the right hand side is because the invoice has been raised from Xero. Yep. And then on the left hand side, that's actually the payment coming through the bank.
Yep.
So what Xero's doing is taking the information that it's getting from the bank feed and going, okay, we know you raised an invoice for $6,187.50 to Ridgeway University. Here's a payment from Ridgeway University for $6,187.50, and let's go. We think this is a match, and that's the I suppose the intelligence behind it. It's doing a bit more than that in the background, but
so it saves you. It saves you having to type on all the details that I previously showed you there. So it shows up as an automatic match, and you can just reconcile that item then with one click of a button. So we'll go ahead there and reconcile that with clicking OK,
Okay.
and then that's that item then reconciled. So the third example I'd like to show you is within the bank reconciliation is when an expense has been incurred, that has shown up as a match as well. So it's pretty similar to the second example that I showed you there. So you'll see there 7th of February, Truxton Property Management 1,181.25 has been matched to an expense bill that has already been raised, or sorry, that has already been created within Xero. So that's an automatic match there as well.
That's coming through Dex potentially. You've taken a picture of it, and it's gone, okay, you've spent 1,182.81.25 with Truxton Property, and it's sitting there waiting for that transaction to come through the bank, and that's it coming through on the left now.
Yep. So with one click of a button again, we can reconcile that item by clicking OK.
Perfect.
And then the fourth and final example I'd like to show you is, when there's been 2 or 3 invoices that add up to the total amount of money coming out of a bank. So we'll see here from Smart Agency 4,500. If we want to find a match for that, we can just go ahead there and click Find and Match, and we'll search by typing in Smart. We'll search that, and you can see there's been two invoices there for Smart Agency. So if you click on that, you'll see that matches then the 4,500.
So in this instance, it's across 2 invoices, and where the client or the customer has just paid it in one transaction of 4,500, but it covers the 2. So it's just to demonstrate how easy it is to find the actual matches, or if it doesn't match, how to kind of allocate and reconcile that. So on your left hand side, you have your bank statements, on your right hand side, you have Xero, and you basically can work between the 2. So it just makes it as easy as possible for you.
So we can go ahead there and reconcile that as well. And then the last thing I want to say there, see the Discuss tab. Say you wanted to go ahead with the reconciling the transactions within your Xero yourself. And you weren't sure about what to do with one of the transactions, you can just leave a wee query on the Discuss tab for your accountant, then they come and clear that up for you.
So give me an example just of kind of the question that you would ask there. So say for City Limousines.
Yeah, so for City Limousines, say the user wasn't aware of what code to assign that to. They could just leave a wee message on there, asking the accountant to just explain what account that would go to, and then the accountant would come and clear that up for them then.
So if you just add a note there, so you could ask anything within there, that'll display for your accountant, so that we see whatever the customer sees. So we can answer that, and it kind of ties that query to the actual transaction, so that the accountant's sure this is the query, or this is the transaction that you're querying, and it's that simple. You put it on there, and then we can respond and just say, listen, this is how you should code it to code 400, or I'm not sure City Limousines would fall under marketing, but
no, they go back to one of the points I made at the start. And one of the benefits that Xero has is that it promotes regular engagement between the user and the accountant as well. So that's another example of that. And then
I suppose in a lot of ways, in the traditional sense, you maybe had to phone your accountant doesn't at his desk. He's not, you don't know when he's going to come back. You phone again, you don't get him, all that sort of stuff. Whereas for you, you can know you've raised the question, the accountant will come back to you when he can, and he then just responds when he's back at his desk or whatever it is, and you won't lose track of it because it's all within Xero. So it's really, really useful feature, and really, really helpful to, those time consuming queries, can literally be done in seconds now. So it's really useful from that point of view.
Sorry, just the last wee thing there too I want to say is the compact view. So me personally, I would like to see more transactions on the screen at the one time. So with the compact view, it allows you to view 6 or 7 transactions at the one time on your screen. But if you didn't prefer to do that, if you wanted to see the transactions up closer, you would just select that compact view, and it would show you the transactions at a closer view. And that's just a personal preference as well.
There's just one question in relation to how you get a hard copy invoice into Xero. So Dext can actually work in both ways, on both the invoice side and the receipt side. And basically, you can have an app on your phone, and you can take a picture of the invoice. Now, what it does from there is it'll actually scan the invoice and go, okay, here's the date, here's the amount, here's the supplier, and it'll pick out those bits and pieces. And if it's a receipt, it'll put it in as a bill to pay. If it's an invoice, it'll put it in as an invoice that you've raised. If you don't have the app on your phone, what you can do is forward them to an email address, and the same process will happen. If I explain the kind of mechanics behind Dext, Xero do offer a similar system, which is called HubDoc. We didn't go with HubDoc for one particular reason, and that is to do with the automation and the matching rate. Basically, for common invoices that you pay, say for instance, for us, it might be Zoom or Google Ads or Facebook invoices, Amazon, things like that. The automated scan will get those invoices because it's used to seeing them on a regular basis. But what Dext offers over HubDoc is that if the automatic scan doesn't work, it's actually processed by a human person, by the Dext team. So there is a turnaround time. You'll see that some will go through straight away where it can pick it up, no problem. But some will maybe take a bit longer if it's if it's having difficulty. So say the copy or the picture isn't great, it'll be transferred to a human to actually pick out the relevant information and it'll match it. That's why we picked Dext over HubDoc. So its match rate is much, much higher and leaves it that you actually don't have to do anything with it. If it's totally illegible, say it's a handwritten invoice from somebody, they may send it back to you and go, listen, we can't make out this part. Can you confirm what it is? But the match rate is like 98% plus or something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it is exceptionally high, and it is only really where the invoice is badly done. I mean, if it has T over it and it's dog-eared and all this sort of stuff, it still actually does it. If it's just down to the handwriting and somebody's really scrawled it, it can have a bit of difficulty, but it really will work for a high percentage of them. Just on another. Dext isn't free to use, unfortunately, but it is built in as part of our bundle prices. And the reason being is I think it depends on which package you're on. It starts at £5, I think, per month. It goes up to 10 or 15, depending on how many invoices you're processing. But, it's really, really practical. The reason is if you're spending £5 per month on Dext, trying to do this process manually of doing your invoices and keeping track of your bills, the fiver is well worth the expense. HubDoc is free with Xero, but as I said, it's the match rate that you're really struggling with. So in terms of the pricing, that's why it's worth it in our view. Just on another few questions, I'll try and get through them as quick as I can. So if there's an invoice template that you have, then yes, it can be uploaded to Xero. We can rebuild it either through the Xero one, or we can. Sometimes it's easier to rebuild it, but if you have one, you can use it from Xero. So it's a personal preference. If you want to use a Xero one and kind of make it look like your existing invoices, then you can. Or you can upload one. Next one. So does this mean if we sign up to Xero, we also need to subscribe to the document matching service? Not necessarily. You can do it yourself. Our view is that the pricing versus the time it saves is worth it. But if you say, listen, I can do that myself, I don't have that many receipts, I'll just add them, that's absolutely no problem. It's completely up to yourself. So I suppose if you only have a few, it might be worth it just to save the additional monthly subscription. So you can do it from within Xero. You don't need to use the Dext product. But as I said, as your business grows, maybe you want to consider it after that. So potentially after that. Hopefully I've answered those all okay. I'm going to give you a bit more time to ask any other questions, any other follow-up questions that you have. And whilst you're sending those questions through, I'll go through the results of the poll. So what we have is 100% of participation, which is excellent. So thank you very much for all your answers. Fairly even split. So 32% are saying that they currently use pen and paper, 31% on Excel, and 32% are saying that they keep the invoices and the receipts, with only 5% saying that they currently use cloud software. From our point of view, I hope that this has given you a good insight into how powerful cloud accountancy software can be, and basically shows some of the benefits that it can bring to it. Obviously, that is a very, very quick overview in terms of invoices, bills, bank reconciliations, but it does give you a flavor of kind of how easy it makes things and how intuitive the system is. So Daniel did an excellent job there in terms of demoing how easy it is to reconcile transactions, which can be a pain if you're doing them in other ways. But we will try and build on the basis, or on this basis, to try and kind of show some of the more advanced features. So you can do things like automatic matching, where it'll kind of get the invoice and automatically put it to a code. You have to teach it how to do that. It can't do it itself, but it's all possible. And there's other things that, as you'll see along the top there, you can do payroll. We touched on it earlier. It can do stock control. You can do quotes, so that if you have, say, 150 of a particular product, and somebody comes in and says, "Listen, I want 100," your sales department can issue a quote on that, and it'll ring fence it and sort of say, "Listen, we have 100 provisionally assigned here for a big order." So that maybe your operations team don't know that they even issued that, so it stops the problem of the sales guy going, "Yeah, okay, that's no problem, we can fulfill that order," and then coming back and going, "Well, actually, we only have 80 left now because somebody else sold them." So there are really, really good features like that can be utilized. If I just come to one more question, do you recommend having Xero to get it going? So as a startup, do we recommend having Xero from the get-go, even if sales are a few months away? Absolutely. I would suggest that that's a good idea. The reason being is because if you're in a startup phase, what you would probably want to do is start keeping track of the expenses that you're incurring. So you can claim for anything that you incurred for the previous period. Now, there's limits on how far back that you can go, but if you're kind of purchasing things to set up the business and incurring, marketing expenses to try and source clients and things like that, you want to start keeping track of that, so that whenever you do start making sales, that you're actually able to use those expenses that you incurred in the startup phase against your tax bill. If you only start recording your sales, from the point of the sales going forward and then expenses going forward, you're going to lose that but at the start, that could potentially reduce your overall tax bill. So from that point of view, it's you can start off with one of the lower down levels of Xero, one of the subscription costs, and that'll hopefully mean that it's not that your tax bill is offset. So whatever you're spending in Xero, you obviously save by the fact that you're not going to end up paying it over to HMRC when you're doing that. The other thing is, it's probably better to get used to Xero, how you actually raise invoices, how you do bills and things like that in a quieter period. If you're trying to learn Xero as you're going along in a startup phase, it could be a bit tricky, and you could start missing invoices or sales, and you could end up not billing the customer, in which case that's lost money. So it's very difficult to recover that if you don't actually issue the invoice. So the better that you get at using it, the better the system will work for you. So we would definitely recommend it for a startup phase. Apologies, quite a long-winded answer there, but yeah, we do find that it is quite important. One final question. So more aimed toward the bookkeeping and admin service. Should I use Xero as a bookkeeper or a small business? You can use it as both. If you want to use it kind of as an admin, an accountancy bookkeeping side, you can do that with Xero. So you'd probably be best to contact Xero and get that set up. But there's no reason why you can't use it as a bookkeeping service. If there are any other questions, I'll just run through quickly the Toast services before we finish up. So I'm conscious of time. We did say we'd try and keep it to about half an hour. I think we're nearly there. So just with Toast, we cover basically every industry and provide every kind of service that you would expect of a full service accountancy firm. So it can be very, very straightforward things like a sole trader. So if it's just yourself and you just need a self-assessment completed, we can do that. That's relatively inexpensive in terms of how you do that. We always get the question of, do I actually need an accountant? The answer to that is no, you don't. You can do a self-assessment yourself. However, what we always kind of say to that is that if you aren't aware of tax deductible expenses, then you could potentially end up with a higher tax bill than needs be. If you have an accountant there kind of saying, listen, you could actually claim for this, that, this, that, and that, your tax bill could be, significantly lower than what it should be, because to try and actually keep up with what's deductible and what's not is literally a full-time job, and it is literally our full-time job. So that's what I would say is you might kind of go, well, I could save a bit of money here and not pay for an accountant to do that. And in the long run, it actually ends up costing you more money because you end up paying it over in tax that you wouldn't normally have to pay to HMRC, or in time and actually completing your self-assessment. To expand that out then, as you go along and as you grow, then you probably will need the support of an accountant. So an accountant will have to get up to speed, get your previous, accounts in order and make sure that they're familiar with your business, which can take a bit of time. So again, the sooner that you get the advice and the support, it can be relatively inexpensive, like I said at the start, for a sole trade. And then as your business grows, additional services can be added. So once you take on an employee, we're quite upfront in terms of our pricing. It's very, very clear. Like it says, we have clear and transparent pricing. If you have payroll, it's X amount per month. If you have VAT returns required, it's X amount per month. And that can go up and down depending on what your business actually requires. So obviously at the start, just yourself, you won't need payroll, you may not need VAT, things like that. But as your business grows, once you sign on your first employee, we can advise you in the payroll process, do that on a monthly basis for them, or weekly, or whatever way you want to pay them. So that can grow with your business. But it then goes on to kind of much more complicated things like business advice, cash flow forecasting, if you want to raise finance, if you want kind of CFO advice, if you're getting to the stage where you're raising capital or things like that. We can provide all those kinds of services. Maybe it's not what you need now, but as you grow, who knows? That's what we do. As I said, we operate basically on a monthly basis to try and kind of ease the cash flow, so that whenever your tax bill does actually come in January, or whenever it's due, that you're not met with an accountant's bill, a tax bill, and a payment on account. So we try and smooth that out so that you're it's not a big capital outlay in 1 month. And as Daniel said, what Xero and Dex all adds to is that it's constant engagement. So we can set it up and make sure that that's running okay. You have very, very clear idea of how your business is running. Like Daniel said about the cash in, cash out, it's a very, very simple measure. If the blue bar is higher than the gray bar, that's what you want to see. If the gray bar is constantly higher than the blue, you might want to consider how things are going. We can see exactly what you can see. So Xero and Dex means that we can focus a bit more towards the advisory side, and kind of saying, listen, you might want to take a look at these particular aspects of it. And likewise, the counter is true as well. What you can do is we can say, look, you're trading very, very, very quickly here. You're going to have to maybe change your structure from sole trader to a limited company, because your tax bill personally is going to be huge. You have no choice but to take all that profit in 1 year. So we can focus towards, how best that the business operates for you, and that it's as tax efficient as possible and things like that. So all those sorts of things build on the foundation is the technology and how that runs, which is why we're doing the webinar series. And that means that we can then focus on the advisory side. So I hope that was fine. I think we're done with the questions. If anybody else has any more, feel free to throw them in there. As I said, in relation to the poll, fairly even split of pen and paper, Excel, and invoices. So I hope that gave you an idea of cloud accountancy and how it can help. We'll run another one in the next few weeks. If you feel that there's particular topics that you'd like us to cover, absolutely suggest, send us an email at accounts@toast.tax, and we'll pick that up. And obviously, as I said, if you want to follow us for further tips and advice, we have all the social media channels there, and we try our best to get useful content and tips as useful as we can. So with that, if there's no further questions, I'll wrap it up. I think we're pretty good on time. So thank you everybody for attending, and we'll see you in the next masterclass with Toast. Thanks everybody.
Thanks everybody. Cheers, Michael.
Thanks, Daniel.